Good morning. It's Tony Dattino, founder of the USA Memory Championship. And as you may recall, if you saw my broadcast last week, I'm back up in New York this week. And behind me is the bookshelf where I was talking about some of the books that I had written and saved over the years. I've been, ever since Tony Buzan taught me, about 30 years ago, how to read. That was an interesting conversation we had. But how to read, and how to read in a way that your memories are able to absorb, retain, comprehend, and then utilize information. And wouldn't you know, by coincidence, I happened to mention Josh Foer's book, Moonwalking with Einstein. And so, as I mentioned Josh's book that he wrote, let's see, Josh wrote this book back a little ways ago, and I still get people calling me now. I should have done this ahead of time. 2011. So it's about 11 years ago. And I still get emails and calls from people who are reading Josh's book. And what's been amazing to me is here is on page 242 of his book is where I guess my claim to fame comes in, and that is Tony Dattino, a mustached 50-year-old corporate consultant, stood at the front of the room to introduce the Memory Championship. He founded it in 1997. And he is one of Tony Buzan's American disciples. Dattino makes his living consulting with companies like IBM, British Airways, and Con Ed about how their workforces can be more productive through the use of memory techniques. And lo and behold, I get an email from someone who reads the book, Moonwalking with Einstein, and sends me an email and says, "Are you the Tony Dattino that's referenced in the Moonwalking with Einstein book?" And we had just talked about this last week when I was looking at these books on my shelf, and I talked about Moonwalking as one of the most productive books in terms of bringing people's attention to the world of memory and the fact that these are skills. And he talks here about average memories are remarkably powerful if used properly. There are techniques that you can learn and utilize. Competitors see themselves as participants in a research program. And once upon a time, we can go on and on there, but I wanted to read one up. Normal is not necessarily natural. And so I go off and often here, loads of bright people in conditions where they are vigorous and objective are where the memory circuit exists. And so I could just go on. It's a natural deficiency, but it's hidden potential. So in working, it's a capability we have, but it's a hidden potential. And so what I say to people is, if you believe that you can improve your memory, and in fact you believe that you're not gifted with the genes at birth, but can learn skills and you can really develop those, it's amazing what you can do. And as I go through the Josh's book here, I mean, God, I guess it's been a long time since I've read the book, but I started looking through here, and in the index, the USA Memory Championship, it talks about him being as a winner, articles that have been written, the decision to pursue the contest, the participation in the event, the training and preparation. I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff in here that he talks about the USA Memory Championship. And so it's almost like I want to start buying these books, and I guess it's like, duh. So I get this email last week from somebody who reads the book, and he wants to know how we can collaborate in a positive way to help in the world of education. And he rattles off what his vision would be for taking concepts that, are in the book here, and how would you bring them into the educational arena, maybe in middle school, certainly in high school. And boy, if you had it done in middle school and high school, wouldn't it make a world of difference to how students go through their education and then move into college or trade professions or things that they may never have thought that they could do. And so this was like, wow, somebody that reads the book, that sends a note to me, and bam, I got my team together on a Zoom call Saturday, and it has to be one of the most exciting, enlightening calls that I have had in a while. And I say that in a way that when you start to look at the books that are behind me here, I've been at this now for over 20 years and trying to find people in the world of business, education, parents, kids, that realize that if we could only figure out how to bring this into the world of education, what a difference we can make in their lives, in the educators' lives, in the students that go. I mean, it's powerful when you begin that you have what? It's the fundamental foundation of everything. It's of how you communicate. It's how you remember things that you're supposed to be doing for your work, remembering things that you're supposed to be doing for your family, how you communicate, all driven off the source of memory. And so here comes, Josh in his book, and somebody reads this book and says, hey, this guy, Tony Dattino, I want to talk to him. And so gladly, I brought a couple of my team members along, Michael Dattino being one, saying, wow, Michael understands this education business as he's currently working with students at Columbia University on the third year of an educational grant. And Karen Pinson, who has been with this event since its inception 24 years ago, who understands the mental athletes and their priorities and the work they've done and the studying, to have a Zoom call on Saturday afternoon. And it was awesome because we got to meet somebody who has a vision for this and looking at how he can incorporate this into games that he's played since he was 8 years old. And he's looking at the different events that we have in the memory championship and the memory qualifying rounds. And he's like, guys, I'd like to work and collaborate and figure out how we can get this in a way where we can start using the gaming as the hook, as I may think of it, to the point of learning. And so do you go to the game and then bring people to learn, or do you bring them to learn to bring them to the application of? So it was an interesting conversation going back and forth, and what we were talking about is we have a lot of these teaching methods in the USA Memory Championship website underneath the Maximum Memory Mastery online course. And in the Maximum Memory Mastery online course, we expand, we become the teaching, we become the how-to on that course on what Josh writes about in terms of what he competed in the championship that he won. And so I kind of looking at these things, you would think 10 years later, as people said to me, Tony, by time your thinking gets into a massive population, it's going to be more than 20 years. And I'm like, what? And they said, yeah, you need to understand culture change of the magnitude that you're talking about and the belief systems that people have about their own memories. And by golly, I'm glad I didn't believe that 20 years ago, because I don't know that I ever would have started the journey in terms of how challenging and how many times I've been knocked down that I get back up. And here I was on Saturday getting back up again, excited about there is somebody else in the world that has a vision for the power that Josh actually writes about in his book and what a difference it makes in people's lives. And how that difference can give them opportunities to do things they never ever thought possible. And that's what gets me excited when I see people like this gentleman we spoke with over the weekend, who sees the possibility of what maximum memory mastery skills bring into their educational arena or bring into their life that they will use forever. His hypothesis was if we can get them in school at an early age, engaged in it in a fun way, maybe through a gaming, and get them engaged in that fashion, and then get them to want to learn some of the skills that Josh writes about in the book, and get them to look at the maximum memory mastery and the breakout of here's how anyone can do this. What a world of difference we can make for our students from middle to high school to college or to trade schools, as it may be. And it was exciting to have somebody that has the same vision that I've had for a whole bunch of years with maybe, as I said, God, I've been down this road so many times and I've gotten close so many times. Maybe, just maybe, you can find the pathway that takes us to a different result. in dealing with some of what I call the bureaucracies and some of the beliefs that people have that are so wrong. They're the myths of what we call about memory. And memory is not, as we talk in school, it's rote memory. So just stand here and just pound this into your head. No, there's fun ways of learning the skills. We see mental athletes do this all the time, and they just love it, and they just enjoy doing it. It's not because they're nerds, you know. It's amazing how many of our mental athletes are clearly not nerds. They're amazing people that have done amazing things, that just decided to do something in their life that they didn't think was possible. And that's exciting. I mean, that is exciting. And so I thank the gentleman that reached out to us over the weekend, and I look forward to where we're going to go down the road here. He's got amazing credentials and just an amazing career that he's about to embark on, and just left me energized and thinking about over and over again, how do we move forward in this world of getting people to realize I too can improve my memory. I too can learn things that are not just innate, but I can learn some skills and functions and things that I'm able to do that I never ever thought possible. And any time in the world of memory you're able to do that, people's faces just beam up. They just light up. They're just like, wow, I can't believe I can do this. And it just fires them up into exploring things in their life that they never thought they would do or even think were possible. And that's my Monday broadcast to start our week off after Super Bowl Sunday. And I think we'll be talking about that last penalty call for a while. Fortunately, I'm not an Eagle fan or a KC fan, so I was not, crazy intense about it. And I'm hoping that the Giants can figure out how to do better next year when they play the Eagles and not get whopped up again. So with that, have a good week. We're off and going, and we'll see you back here on Wednesday. I will still be in New York at that point, and I'll probably be here for another several weeks. Now, if I can end the video, I'll be in good shape.